Stand and say the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first order of business is to approve and execute the meeting minutes. With any questions or motion?
I'll move. Second. Typically we read that verbatim, but we're not going to do
Is that important to you? We can do that.
Well, I'm just saying, if we're changing it, I mean, usually I wait until Christie reads it, then I
Go
make a
ahead.
motion.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute the minutes for the meeting of January 12, 2015.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye. We have two sets of problems.
Yes, I am now copy a couple. The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute the minutes for the meeting of January 20th, 2015.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye. You ready for the next one?
Ready.
Financials today include supplemental appropriations for the engineers ditch and stormwater funds to incorporate the carryover balances. Cash transfer out of the general fund for fourth quarter 2014 portion of payroll funding for the Office of Community and Economic Development. Travel requests for the Commissioner's Office. There's carryover contracts A and B for EnviroCom for the Thompson Township Sewer Project for the Department of Water Resources, totaling $1,750,000. Those are carryovers from the previous year. The payment to Trumbull County Treasurer for the pro rata assessment of the 2015 11th District Court of Appeals expenses in the amount of $40,343.09. First quarter 2015 payment to the OSU Extension Office in the amount of $68,566.25. And a payment to Portage Geauga County Juvenile Detention Center for the first quarter 2015 in the amount of $147,793.
Thank you.
Any questions?
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute resolution number 15-00011, itemizing the financials for the meeting of January 27, 2015.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Thanks, aye.
Okay, item number 4.
4, 5, 6, and 7, all go together if you want to do them.
Okay, that sounds good to me. Anybody have an objection? We do 4 through 7? I do, because we have too many signed things to sign.
Well, then go ahead and start. The County Auditor is requesting the Board accept and execute and file the monthly statement of county finances filed by the County Auditor for the month of November 2014 pursuant to ORC 319.15. The County Treasurer is requesting the Board accept, execute, and file the monthly statement of county finances filed by the County Treasurer for the month of November 2014 pursuant to ORC 319.15. The County Auditor is requesting the Board accept, execute, and file the monthly statement of county finances filed by the County Auditor for the month of December 2014 pursuant to ORC 319.15. The County Treasurer is requesting the Board accept, execute, and file the monthly statement of county finances filed by the County Treasurer for the month of December 2014 pursuant to ORC 319.15.
I'll make those motions.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye. Okay, the Building Department.
Morning, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Living the dream.
what's the outcome of that now? What are we gonna do? We're gonna backfill in?
I get first part is accept the resignation, and the second part is request permission to advertise.
Any questions, comments? Yes, that's both good.
The building department is requesting the board accept the resignation of James Urinkar, multi-certified inspector, to effective February 10th, 2015. The building department is requesting the board grant permission to advertise for the position of multi-certified inspector number 1103. This position will remain posted until filled.
I'll make those motions.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Mike. Have a good day.
You do the
Stay
same.
warm.
Oh, yes. One of these days it's gonna get warm.
Yeah. Couple of months.
Take care.
Good morning, Kelly.
Good morning.
Hi, Kelly.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
I just want to say I appreciate the 9 a.m. sessions. I like that. Things are done and out of the way. And
Yeah, makes sense.
Thank you for saying that.
My first item today is certification of determinant of exemption for one of our projects for BF14. This one is for the county home. This is a grant that was already signed and approved. Now we're just letting the state know that there is no environmental conditions that will be disturbed with these projects. And because we're just doing inside rehab for the county home, so that would be in good time.
Any questions or comments on that?
Nope.
The Office of Community and Economic Development is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the Ohio Development Services Agency certification of determination of subsequent exemption for a categorical exclusion project in regards to the Pleasant Hill County Home Project under grant number B-F-14-1AZ-1 in the amount of $25,538.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Could you do me a favor, for the sake of the audience, I actually asked this question this morning, because it might be confusing. There's the comment in here about subsequent exemption for category exclusion project.
Basically what that is saying is that we are not disturbing anything environmentally, and we need to let the state know that, and that's their terms that they use, category excluded. There's other categories, if we were doing something like disturbing ground or adding on to the building, changing something, that would be a different category, such as environmental assessment we would have to do, or category excluded determination subject to this one code, which means we may be doing a little bit that still doesn't need to have environmental assessment. There's 3 different categories, and these are completely exempt.
So it's one of the pieces of red tape that we have to go through as we go through all these projects.
Exactly.
It's just a step in the process.
Yeah, it's housekeeping.
Yeah, that's what,
Yeah, our favorite term.
that was a favorite term. Dave and I had a bet this morning when I called, Anita, thank you. Anita.
Oh, and did she say housekeeping?
and she
Yeah,
said
within the
housekeeping.
first like 10 seconds, and then bingo, okay.
All right, sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Number 11, same deal, but this one is for the Burton Legion Hall project. It again is exempt from any environmental assessment needed. And this is also with BF14, our grant projects for this year.
Do you want to go and read this?
The Office of Community and Economic Development is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the Ohio Development Services Agency certification of determination of subsequent exemption for a categorical exclusion project in regards to the Burton Legion Hall project under grant number B-F-14-1AZ-1 in the amount of $50,250.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Number 12 is the release of funds form. This is required by the state so they can again, look at the environmentals of all of the projects and determine that we did our job, and no further environmental assessment needs to be done. And this is allowing them to release the funds available to us to start making our projects. We can't go into contract with the architect, engineer, or anything until we get a release from the state. And this is for, the release of funds will be for all the projects, but on this form, it states the Thompson projects because it was an environmental assessment done on Thompson, because we were doing the parking lot.
How does that project stand from a timing standpoint?
Well, again, we need this before we can even get going on the community center part of it. Is the sewer project is completely different, if that's what you're asking about.
Yeah, that's what I was
That's,
asking about.
as far as I understand, that's not my project, that's Joni's project, but as far as I understand, it is moving along. I think the weather kind of played a role in maybe slowing it down, but they are continuing to work on the plant and getting ready. They have tied in some people, but I know the loaders are still sitting right now. That's as much as I know. Water resources would be a better one to ask on how that project's going.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
The Office of Community and Economic Development is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the State of Ohio Development Services Agency Office of Community Development request for release of funds, RROF, and certification for federally funded state projects in regards to the program income via 14 grant projects for the Thompson Township Community Center.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
The Honorable Joe. I know I'm honorable because I got that little card in the mail from the Secretary of State that said Honorable Skip Claypool. I said, wow, I'm honorable now.
That's all it takes.
Okay, what do we got?
First item I have on here is asking commissioners to enact the 33% reduction in weight limits for the frost law, if you will. Protect the roads as the starts to warm up and the frost is trying to get out of the ground. Damage that can happen to the roads. We do it every year. This is typical, and as soon as the frost is out of the roads, I'll bring you guys in and ask to put the road limits back there.
You just said we do it every year. Why do we do this every year? Why don't we just have a
State law
resolution that says on the 1st of February until whatever date and just,
Well, because the way the state law was set up, you actually determine those dates based on the weather that's going on. Last year, we extended, we started it later because it got so
because it was
cold
so
that
frozen,
frost
it was
broke down.
frozen.
So, you know, we keep an eye on it, and, you know, we try to limit that window, so we're not putting a burden on, you know, truckers and deliveries and equipment. But, we have to protect those. So it's
So
floating window
it
based
may
on what's
move a
going on.
week or two on either end.
Oh, absolutely, right, just based on how cold it's been, or.
The core, but the majority of the time is probably the
It's
same.
pretty close. Yeah, it's within
But
a
it's
couple
just a
weeks.
couple weeks on one end or the other.
Correct.
Okay.
And how do you determine that? Is that a windage thing, or is it?
Actually, we kind of watch the roads and we see the heat in them and so forth, and we know what the temperature's been, because it has just a lot to do with it.
So it's a judgment thing. It's not like you stick a meter in the ground and say, oh, it's time to do the.
There's no way,
And they're all somewhat different depending on, you know, if they're built on an embankment, they can frost work its way in. You know, every road's different.
I'm gonna put you on the spot for just a second. Somebody, you guys, if you got any curiosity at all, Joe's got a phenomenal operation putting salt down on the road. He's got this very creative thing. So if you got to stop by his garage sometime and bug him and ask him to show you his process.
Don't just wander in there, though.
got to sign an insurance waiver, but other than
Or
that.
give him a call.
I'll
Give him a
take
call,
care of it.
arrange something.
Yeah.
He's got really
Yeah.
a good thing. Maybe I can give it to him.
Yeah.
It's really a pretty impressive operation that he's got set up out there. I mean, we're blessed to have a county engineer like Joe.
Thanks.
Anyway, go ahead.
All I have on
Read
that.
13.
The county engineer's office is requesting the board approve the reduction by 33% to the maximum load limit permitted on all county and township roads to be effective February 16th, 2015, in accordance with section 5577.07 of the Ohio Revised Code. This reduction is necessary to minimize damage to the roads during periods of freeze thaw and excessive moisture.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Next item I have on here is asking the commissioners to
Morning, Jay.
approve the convenience and necessity for the improvement of Rapids Road. This would be from 422 up to the Burton Village line. It's pretty much just a resurfacing job with traffic maintained. We're not going to close the road for anything on this. More than traffic will be following. It's pretty straightforward. It's about just over 5 miles. 5.5 miles. Resurfacing. Surface is really taking a beating out there, especially in the shaded areas down by Pond Road and so forth. It's right, starting to laminate. We need to catch it now before it's a lot more expensive.
And there was a recent fatality out.
Yeah, that was excessive speed, but.
Right, I realize that, but that road is not,
And they tend to get.
it's pretty straight when you get on it by 422, but then it starts going downhill when you get up closer to Burton there.
Right, and pavements tend to, especially the limestone surface, like what's out there, tend to get a little polished 5 to 7 years.
Mhm.
And it's pushing about 10 years right now. Says that happens, they do get a little more slippery. And the surface we're putting down is the 424 we've talked about before, which is a high friction. So definitely make that situation better. And there has been 2 more in that area since then.
Right, well, failed?
Accidents. No, not failed.
Accidents, right.
Excessive speed, but still, I mean, we're gonna, limit that even.
I guess my question is there been any thought given to maybe straightening some of those curves
Well,
out,
we
making
did.
them a little less,
We
Yeah,
did
a little
years
more.
ago when we put the bridges in,
Yeah.
that would have been around, what year was that out? 96. 96? We redid the bridges and we did as much as we could. Akron owns all that property, there's a lot of swamp land in that.
yeah, the base would be a
It's all-
nightmare.
Exactly, the base, the cost of it, and those were newer bridges, 96. They got at least a 50-year life, so there's not much more we can change out there. The accident rate isn't high, we just had that.
Well, and there were other conditions involved with rain and
Right.
leaves all over the street and so on and so forth, as I understand.
Yeah,
But it's
exactly.
fun to drive through those curves pretty fast.
How do you know this?
I was told.
You've watched it? Okay.
Up to the speed limit.
Yeah.
Up to the speed limit, but never exceed, that's right.
But anyway, the surface we're putting on will certainly hold. The friction's a lot higher than that, the coefficient, and it'll hold the cars even more than normal.
Oh, so we can go faster around the
No,
corner.
you cannot.
Oh, okay.
You can travel more safely.
When adverse conditions are out there, you will save.
The county engineer's office is requesting the board approve and execute resolution number 15-012 to improve Rapids Road CH1 sections D through F in Troy and Burton Townships.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
It's impressive that there's science to this. It's not just you guys out there throwing cement on
It's
the
not
road.
voodoo.
No, there's a lot to it, man. And even so, I mean, the whole asphalt industry is morphed over the years. There's a lot of chemical engineering that goes into the liquid cement, the AC in the mix, depending on where you're at in the nation, what you're trying, what kind of performance you're trying to get out of it. It's just expensive stuff, so it's tailored to specific uses.
Well, you got me razzled out. You see all that technical stuff, and I'll believe anything you say.
Oh, really? Well, since we're at that.
That's all it takes. We get some Heath kids. Something.
It's because it's you, Joe. Was anybody else?
Oh, you wouldn't believe it at all.
All right.
The next item is we're asking the board to approve the plans and set bid dates for the salt storage building that we've talked at length about here in the past. Set the bid opening at February 18th, 2015 at 2 p.m. Been in receipt of the plans since last Thursday. We're asking to send it out to bid.
Any questions, comments?
Well, I know you and I have talked about this, and it's a unique style building that the manufacturers also install, right, or they have.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess what I'm asking is how many legitimate bids do you think you're going to get from these people that are?
I'm hoping we'll get at least 3.
That's what I was going to say. There's three major companies, aren't there?
There is, and what we've also done is we've specified what we want, but also set parameters that if you meet these parameters, we'll entertain bids from different type structures if it can accommodate the amount of storage we need. So, you know, we try our best to meet our needs and have it last for the amount of time it has to. But with the same respect, we do our best to not make it proprietary and that other people can bid it with their product. And we'll evaluate that. And if something, someone puts in a bid that is somewhat different from our design, we've required them to have professional engineers stamp the drawings. Because what we've given them, we have stamped, we're licensed engineers, and we know it'll work and everything. So if they do a variation of it, we'll allow it, but they have to stamp it, submit it, and then at that point, we'll evaluate the lowest and best that's submitted. So yeah, it's open to anybody and everything, but we've kind of given a direction that we would like to see them go.
You've indicated alternate materials. You mean instead of the fabric, like a steel top, or
No, we've
you're looking at the
required
basement?
that. Yeah, we're talking the foundation.
The foundation.
You know, some of the different manufacturers have different truss systems. More of a steel superstructure than this particular one. These are lighter trusses, but very economical.
But the John Q. Public, it's going to look the same.
Right. And you know, when you talk about other people bidding, the top itself that we've asked for is a particular brand, and they can go with an alternate. But even so, concrete companies, most of the money's in the foundation and the walls. So we could have 4, 5, 6, 7 concrete companies bid on this, and then they can hire the people for the superstructure as a sub. So, I mean, we could have 10, 15 bids, you know, but it's only the top that, you know, is somewhat limited. So, yeah, we've done our best to not make it proprietary.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions?
The county engineer's office is requesting the board approve the plans and specifications for the construction of a salt storage structure to be located at 12665 Barrett Road, Clarendon Township. The engineer's highway maintenance department, and further grant permission to advertise for bids with the opening to be held on Wednesday, February 18, 2015 at 2:00 p.m. Notice of this bid opening will be advertised on January 29, 2015 and on the county website.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Thanks.
Thanks, Joe. Jobs and Family Services. You're in the hot seat.
All right. Good morning, Your Honor.
Frank.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have to feel like I'm still in court, so I have to still use some terms that
Good
are similar.
Good morning. How you doing?
So, we're here, well, first of all, do you all know Nancy? I just want to make sure. So, Nancy Sublette. Obviously, she's the head of our Family First Council. We're here approximately every 6 months to go over the mutual funding agreement for our Family First Council. I know it's somewhat newer for some of you to go over what we do, but it is just so you know, you guys understand, and you may already know, so I'm sorry for repeating myself, but it is a commission or a council that's required by statute for you guys to create and implement, and there are certain mandated members. If you want to take a look at the statute, it's revised code 12137. But it's required for you. There's 88 Family First Councils throughout Ohio, so every county has one. And ours is really what I would view as either a cutting edge or an example of how these councils should be run. It's really a collaborative effort through many partners and 5 partners in our county. and it's been around for 20 years, and it's really sort of a cost. It really saves the county a lot of headaches, and it helps allocate costs across the board, so it's not just JFS that is having our monies used for every child that's in a very complicated placement. So with that being said, I'm sure you have the agreement before you. It's been signed by all the relevant parties, and you guys are usually the last to approve this and execute this. We would just ask that you go forward and execute this. This is a little later in the timeline that we would normally want to be in. Luckily, the Family First Council has been pretty careful with its monies, but it's running out of money. And we have approximately 10 children as of now that are in placements that are being funded by this the council. And some of these placements are foreseeable beyond just next month. But it's from Job and Family Services aspect, it's an incredibly important partner with what we do, and it really helps children that are in need. So we would just ask, and we're the fiscal agent for this council, we're the largest contributor. So we would just very much ask the commissioners to support us and execute this contract going forward. And we're here to answer any questions available to you.
Being the representative to that council for the last year and a half or so, and it's the work they do is phenomenal. Unfortunately, they have to do this work for some of these cases, which are I'll use the word tragic. They're certainly disheartening to go in and hear some of the hardships that these kids are, through no fault of their own, involved with. And you know, I think they do great work sitting there. And many of these issues, most of these issues are confidential, so you can't. Of course, you know, I don't even know their names. It's just Child X and Child Y, and
you hear the stories.
1 and 2, and you hear the story, and it can be very disturbing, or at least it is to me.
Just as an example, we just had a very recent story, and I'll keep it confidential, but just to give an example of how we save the county money. We have a lot of the children that we're dealing with are not necessarily court involved, and so sometimes for JFS to foot the bill, we need custody, actual custody of a child, and the county taxpayer dollars go towards these placements. Some of these children that are troubled actually have very good parents that are doing everything that they can to step up for their child. It's just their services that they need. And so we had a recent case where we had 2 parents that actually carried very good insurance, and we had to place this child at Belfair, which is in their ITU, which is approximately $500 a day. And so with this, their insurance covered 80% of that cost, which is a great cost savings to us. If JFS had custody of this child, we'd pay that $500 a day for that. These parents had insurance, and they covered it, so custody remained with the parents, and Family First Council stepped up and covered that extra just 20%. But so they're paying $100 versus if we had custody, we'd be paying $500 a day. And so that's an example of how that collaboration works, and it gets sort of allocated across the board to these multiple, including you guys, thankfully, stepped up and helped us. And so that's how it sort of can work uniquely, and we can get that child and meet that child's needs, but not at such an expense where, you know, it's a very heady way of dealing with some of these issues. So, and we operate in a field of gray, as you guys may well know, and we try to fill in these cracks in the community where you know, it's needed, and that's just one example out of hundreds that we've done where it's worked, and we save the county and we serve the client.
Anything else? Go ahead.
Department of Job and Family Services is requesting the board approve and execute the Geauga County Family First Council mutual funding agreement between the Geauga County Board of Commissioners, the Geauga County Job and Family Services, the Geauga County Board of Developmental Disabilities, the Geauga County Board of Mental Health and Recovery Services, and the Geauga County Juvenile Court for funding of the Geauga County Family First Council for the period January 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2015. This agreement commits the Board of County Commissioners to providing a support payment of $20,434 from the general fund.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you very
for
much
hearing.
for your continued support. We really appreciate it.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you doing the next one?
Yeah, the next one. The commissioners partnered with Cutter Exploration a number of years ago to do some gas wells on county property, starting out in Chester, and received the revenues from that. And the board asked Cutter to consider putting a well on the fairgrounds to help support the fairgrounds from the revenue from the gas well. And Cutter generously did that. So by this process, we take the money that's collected every year, well, it was collected in 14, and we turn around and provide that to the fair board to help them support the fair. So this action just allows for that transfer.
Comments or questions?
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve an encumbrance and expenditure to the Geauga County Agricultural Society pursuant to ORC 1711.15 and 1711.16 for the year 2014 in the amount of $2,790.35, which is the total gas well revenue received by the county through December 31st, 2014 from a well located on the Geauga County Fairgrounds property.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
This is more sort of house cleaning.
It's the second time this morning.
I know,
Cleaning.
I'm gonna go
We're
down
gonna
when I'm
clean
done
house,
here.
but between you and
Yeah.
CDC, we're.
I'm gonna be going down and cleaning the record center when I'm done here, so this afternoon. I'm here because of the requirement that the commissioners approve the organizational charts for the departments under your hiring authority. And what we had been doing for some of them was including the name of the person who holds that position. And what that would mean is every time somebody quits, we would have to reapprove the org chart, which seemed kind of not the best use of your time. So what I did was, and to make it consistent, I went through some of the org charts and just took the names off. So the positions are the same, the flow of authority is the same, the position numbers are the same, we just took off the names. And of course, if the department heads want to use org charts and put names in, they're certainly welcome to do it, but for your purposes and mine, it didn't make sense to have the names on the actual org charts. That's it.
Any issue? Okay, great.
Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve the revised organizational charts for the departments including Archives, Building, County Home, Department of Emergency Services, and Dog Warden that remove specific employee names and salary rates.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can.
Morning.
How are you?
How are you?
Wonderful.
Is that a Harley Davidson that one?
That was
It
looks like a-
certainly is,
Yeah.
yeah. We're not riding today, though. Okay, so here this morning to talk about the Wellness, the SEPCO grant. And every year, well, for the past 3 years, they have, SEPCO, our healthcare consortium, has offered wellness grant dollars for all of the counties in the consortium. And we have 32 counties now. So this year, they've offered Geauga County $13,368 to be used for various promotions for health and wellness. And I prepared the grant, which I think you all probably saw, hopefully. And I'm here today to ask for your approval to accept that money.
Question, comment? Well, I'll make a brief comment. for anybody, and we had some folks come up from Columbus and talk at length about this. If anybody knows me, I'm not really in favor of this wellness grant, but after quite a bit of time, a lot of discussion, I'm going to support it today. I think the evidence right now, industry-wide, is showing that wellness dollars like this don't really provide a payback. At least that's the feedback that I'm getting. And so, but I want to support the county, and this money is apparently go to waste if we didn't take it, so I will support it this morning. So.
Great.
But I want to go on record with that comment. So. Go ahead.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve the 2015 Sevco Health and Wellness Grant in the amount of $13,368 to promote employee health and wellness lifestyles.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board cancel session for Tuesday, February 10th, 2015 due to Commissioners' training in Columbus.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye. I didn't see this one.
Working off an old agenda.
No,
I
didn't
slipped to
I
another
didn't
page or something, yeah.
pick up on the number 21 there.
Oh.
So apparently we're going to move into executive session to discuss some a litigation issue. And we'll be back, I guess.
Susan Whelan, Assistant Prosecutor, will be coming in. And
Is she here yet?
She's
Yeah,
here.
she's here.
Oh,
And Craig
yeah.
Swenson. And me, if you.
So, Commissioner's
Thank you.
Office is requesting the
I-
Board move into executive session for the purpose of discussing pending litigation.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
So it's going to be David, Commissioners, Susan, Craig.
Do you anticipate any action when you come in?
I'd like to have Linda come in as well. No, I don't. There could be, but I don't. I'd like to have Linda here as well. That's
Okay. Any comments, questions
Oh,
from the?
whoa.
Oh, sorry.
Let the record show we entered back into public session at 10:10. No action. No action.
Thank you. Okay, you ready?
Sure.
All right. Did Blake and Ralph, did you get this document from Dave that showed board appointments and criticality and so on and so forth? So the next one really that's from a priority standpoint is Geauga County Family Services. And I was going to ask to meet with Greg following this meeting and start a process where we can identify a go-forward process on that so we get that wrapped up. And then I think one of the next ones we can push forward on will be the planning committee.
Well, we've gotten a number of.
So I don't know if you had any comments or questions on these. So.
Well, on the planning commission, I mean, are these open-ended, or do we have a
Deadline?
a deadline date set for these? Because on the planning, don't we have 4?
Well, we have applications. I think the concern was that a broad spectrum of citizens be aware of these openings. I think that was what I heard at the last meeting.
The timing and all this is up to us to set. And I think per Dave's comment, and I suggested this to Dave this morning, why don't we go ahead and put public notice, at least in the short run. You know, there's probably a long-term solution to these kinds of things, but in the short run, put public notice in the Maple Leaf, put it on our website, give it a month, and then wrap it up. And if you guys are amenable to that, then that's what I suggest relative to at least the county planning, well, and all of most of them. I guess the Jobs and Family Services might be an exception to that. So.
Yeah, most of these other ones, there's already a quorum, so they can operate. The Family Services Planning Committee is the one where everybody currently on the board is up, and they wanted to have a meeting here within the next month. So that's kind of the issue.
You had given us a document which I don't have committed in memory, where some of these people, their terms expire, they're staggered. Some are
Right.
March,
That's what
May,
this
June,
report,
whatever.
yeah, and this,
whatever
that
they-
reflects it here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so what we're saying is the planning committee for Family Services, they all went off on
Because it's a
December
one-year
31st.
term. Yeah, it's a one-year term. Whereas most of these are multi-year terms and only some of the people are expiring. now.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that there's a rush to appoint someone or reappoint someone to a term that's gonna expire in July, right now.
And ones like the knock card, I'm actually exploring with Dave right now whether we even need to be a member of that, if there's another way to handle that in terms
I
of
think that'd be
organizations.
one of the things you want to talk with Craig about as well.
Yeah, I think we're gonna lose a ton of money there, but that's,
Well, that's the discussion. Is
Yeah.
will we lose money? It can be redirected directly to Jobs and Family Services, so I want to explore that a little bit. If we're going to lose money, then it enters into the calculation quite a bit, so I mean, there's
well, we
influences.
may get the same amount of money, but we're gonna lose the network that we have with all the other counties that helps provide additional services to us and to the people. I mean, we're gonna have to have our own people that look into different things, whereas when we have a consortium of 3 counties, we have a person, but that expense is shared by 3 entities.
Okay, well, that's what I need to understand more of, and I'll get with Craig.
Yeah, I'm not an expert
I'm not
on
going
it,
to talk
but
to you in private, but
I'm pretty
rather than
sure-
waste everybody's time here with that. Let me do a little homework on my own, and we can come back into a discussion. But can we get agreement on the fact that we can put public notice in for some of these boards and then move this thing forward, or do we want more discussion?
Yeah, I mean,
Ralph, what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's
Is that okay with you? All right, so let's just plan to do we need a resolution to do that?
no.
No, okay, so let's just plan to put public notice on for the planning commission, for the law library. And you and I talked this morning about the Western Reserve in terms of whether that's even necessary.
Well, yeah, because that's a joint appointment with Soil and Water, and the board hasn't paid dues into that organization. That we were incorporated, the commissioners joined us, I guess, in 1989, and we've never, to my knowledge, paid our dues. So it might be a matter of the board considering formally withdrawing from that group. And then that would become an appointment. If Soil and Water chooses to be a member, that would be Soil and Water's appointment, and you guys wouldn't have anything to do with it.
And what's the formality on withdrawing from that if we choose to?
We'd have to check with the prosecutor about what we'd have to do. I would think it'd be a letter of action.
Since we've never
Surprised,
paid
since
dues
we
on
never
what
paid
we
for
look
it, they
at.
haven't sent us a Dear John.
You would think, but no.
Yeah, we need to clean some of that up.
Yep.
So once you check into that, we'll
Yep.
see what we can do with that.
Yep.
So with that said, let's just go ahead and do that, and we'll get these boards wrapped up then shortly, within a month. Okay. Any comments from the folks in the area?
Is this public time?
It's public time if you.
Mike Petrosella, Chesterland trustee.
Okay, great.
I guess my question is to the board is, what happened with our NOACA appointments? Why don't we have our county engineer on the board for NOACA? Who's the road guy for the county? He knows what all our road needs are, and I think the public should get an explanation of why we appointed a 2-time voted out person to that position.
To an alternate position.
Well, on that board as an alternate. Clearly, when the people voted her out twice, I think that the public needs an explanation why we put her back on.
We didn't put her back on, I did,
Okay?
okay?
And
Because at the time, she's the most experienced, and she's a resident of the county.
More experienced than the engineer?
More experienced at NOACA.
More experienced than the engineer.
Okay, if you can use that word.
cares
Last
about-
year I
who
appointed.
cares about NOACA?
Excuse
We
me,
care
excuse
about-
me, sir, I'm talking.
All right.
Okay.
I apologize.
You asked the question, I'm answering it. I appointed the engineer last year. He was my alternate. He went to 3 meetings. In the entire year, he went to 3 meetings. And The one meeting I went to because he couldn't make it, 7 meetings, we had to take action and pass a resolution to send help me out here, the engineer, Shane.
Deputy engineer.
Deputy engineer, thank you. We had to send a deputy engineer 7 times, and 3 times no one went because we didn't get notification from our engineer that he couldn't make it in time that we could pass a resolution, so we didn't have anybody to go there. And I had other commitments. So, while the engineer I consider a friend of mine, having him not there isn't a asset. Just having him on paper as the alternate is not an asset. Mary Samedi, now if I go, she sits at home. But she had, of the people available to me to pick at that time, she had the most experience, and she's a Geauga County resident. And if we're going to talk about Geauga County issues, I think we need to have Geauga County people. We hear that enough that the argument with NOAC is we don't want people in those 4 counties making decisions for us. Well, okay, if that's the rules by which we're going to play, then we need to have somebody in our county making decisions for us. That's it. And that's why I did it, and that's the end of the conversation. We can go on with the acknowledgments if you want.
Well, I have a comment on that.
I'm looking for.
First of all, from a overall county engineer perspective, just so everybody's know, Mike, you have been attending our meetings. We did put a resolution forward to NOACA requesting, as the minimum standard in NOACA, that our county engineer and the 3 commissioners be included. And that was submitted on Friday. They considered it. They put it into the system. We need to ask them for a correction because they use that as a replacement for the other resolution that's been in the works for a year, in which 2 commissioners, we get to choose who sits in a seat. And so
No, that's not true.
And so, yes, it is true. And
No,
so,
it's not true.
so we have 2 commissioners, and then we would have a county engineer in position. So, but NOACA chose to replace that particular resolution with the new resolution, and we can discuss whether or not we want to do that or make a request that they consider both. And the one's been in the works for a year.
To correct my colleague, that is what he just said is not true. Each commissioner here has a term. One of us starts on the 1st, one of us starts on the 2nd, and one of us starts on the 3rd of January. The rotation during the 2 commissioner proposal assigned commissioners not by name, because that would change, but by date of the date we start our job. The proposal was for 2 commissioners, and it's better if you diagram it, which we can't do. But 2 commissioners sit here, and on the same level is the engineer. The engineer, his alternate, he picks from his staff. The 2 commissioners that are here, the 3rd commissioner that's in the idle, I'll use the word idle position, is automatically the alternate for one of the commissioners if they don't make it. It rotates around. The argument posed by you and Ralph last year was that it should be someone who is in elected office or the elected officer picked. So the proposal that was sent down there last year ensured that there would always be that scenario. You were the litmus test because you were not an elected officer. You were not a county employee. That was the other consideration. It had to be a county employee. That went down, it got shot down or never acted on. You went to the meetings. I believe it wasn't acted on. But it was not, you got to pick the commissioners. You could pick the rotation, but then it's set going forward by the date that we take office. I got the paperwork.
It's not worth the discussion.
Well, I'm just-
And at this
I don't
point in
wanna-
time, so the bottom line is you get 2 commissioners and an engineer in the past resolution. But let me make this point real quick. And I attended the Friday meeting, as did Kim, Lori, in the place of Ross Spitaleri as his alternate. And here's what I observed. And by the way, my alternate happens to be Linda Brahini, who is a Lake County resident, but who is also a 10-year employee of this county, served this county with distinction. She does a fantastic job. She probably knows as much about this county and has as much interest in protecting this county or upholding this county's values and principles as anybody that I know. I'm very comfortable with Linda. And she has served as an alternate for multiple commissioners sitting at this table well before me, Tracy Jamison and others. And so she's a lot of experience. When I have somebody sitting at that table, and by the way, with all due respect to Linda, it's not likely she'll be there much because I attend all the meetings. But on some happenstance, if I should break a leg or whatever, then Linda will be going there, and I'll be very comfortable with that because she adheres to the values and principles that I would take to that board. She knows how I think. She knows what it is that I would say. She represents me at that table. Here's what I saw on the part of Mary Samiti, who is a lifelong, or not a lifelong, but a very long duration resident of Geauga County. She voted to raise your taxes, or to support raising your taxes in Friday's meeting. She voted to undermine the county, the state constitutional law that says we're going to use road tax dollars only for roads. That's what the people signed up for. That's what the promise was to people when the 28 cents a gallon was established to take care of our roads. It was a promise we're going to take care of the roads. She voted to lobby against that, to change the Constitution to allow those dollars to now be used for mass transit and to be used for bicycle trails, other things, thereby diluting the money that goes into our roads. She voted for a regional plan, which I would love to show you. We're not going to get into a lot of details behind that regional plan, which Kim and I both voted opposed on Friday, that would undermine Geauga County's future because it involves transferring of our dollars under the guise of cost sharing to Cleveland. So the question that I have is who best represents Geauga County? Somebody who is supporting NOACA's objectives of all about Cleveland, Cuyahoga County, using our tax dollars to support their programs and so on and so forth. This whole regional concept of unification across the region, or somebody whose best interest is Geauga County and protecting Geauga County citizens and tax dollars. And so I've got real concerns over Ms. Samiti, who was voted out of office twice for the very reasons that I stipulated. And so I've got concerns about that. Now, Blake has a right to pick the person that he picks. And so,
I would like you to clarify something that
Sure,
you just
sure.
stated there. You talked about the piece of legislation that mentioned bike paths, because bike paths is a buzzword.
Mm-hmm.
Is that not the multimodal piece that would also include money for Amish buggy lanes?
no, we're talking
I
about,
believe it is, but that's all right.
we're not talking about the same thing.
No, well, okay, we may not be talking about the same thing, but you didn't make it clear. But I know that we are in favor of modifying rules there to include something that would affect Geauga County, which is whether it's a widening of the street, most probably like on 528, and providing a buggy lane over on the side so that we can hopefully eliminate the semi-annual occurrence of car buggy crashes and so on. And I'm sure, like it is with every other law in the world, things get tacked on. The point of the issue is you can say all you want, you can pick your person, he can pick his person, I pick my person, and that's the end of the discussion. I mean, we can sit here and just hash it out all day, or we can continue this and adjourn, or I can just leave.
Well, I mean, that's all your call on what you do, but I mean, it is important for folks to know who's represented at NOACA, and the constitutional resolution that was passed on Friday, and since Kim was there, she could throw her 2 cents worth in to make sure that my understanding of that is correct. That is just aside from, we have the 18 cents a gallon federal tax, which is governed by MAP 21. That law already has a set aside for alternative forms of transportation, bicycle trails, buggy trails, so on and so forth. Right now it's all been dedicated towards bicycle trails and mass transit. What was proposed on Friday was actually changing the Ohio Constitution, which now specifically allocates dollars. That's what we agreed to. That's the promise that our lawmakers made to us. They were going to allocate the 28 cents a gallon just to roads. And I would be comfortable with that. If now you want to put money into other things, then that should be taken to the voters and not lobby to have this constitutional change based on some misguided information that in conjunction with that, and people just need to know this, because you need to know this organization that is influencing or wanting to change our county. They actually, in the meeting minutes, are now seeking the opportunity to hire lobbyists using our tax dollars to lobby for these tax increases and these other programs. And Mary's in support of that. I'm not in support of that. You need to decide who you want representing you in Geauga, because you have influence over people on this board. I know that if you were not happy with my representative, I would probably reconsider that assignment, because I think you're important. And so I had my say there, I guess. Anybody else have any comments on that? Go ahead, Tom.
I would like to know Ralph's opinion. I've been seeing Ralph sitting here very quietly, listening, and I'd like to know what he thinks about this.
I would say that I pretty much go along with what Skip is saying.
Go ahead, Mike.
Mike Petrosello again. Is there any initiative or desire to figure out a way to get out of Geauga? Is somebody working on a plan to get us out and let our representatives down in D.C. get this federal tax dollars back for us? Has there been any movement or discussions with our state rep?
There's a lot of, at least from my perspective, I can't speak for Mr. Rear and Mr. Spitaleri. From my perspective, I'm doing some homework right now. We're doing some discussion. Geauga has put out a statement with four different options for us to leave Geauga. We never asked them for that, but they put it together for a variety of reasons. And so we have alternatives, and we have to consider our best strategy going forward that's going to serve the best interest of Geauga County. Our best interest may be served remaining in Geauga, even though it's a painful experience, because that bureaucratic organization is not favorable toward counties like Geauga County. It's not just Geauga County. They're not favorable to any rural county. It's all about the urban core and the urban area for the people that sit at that board who have the majority vote. And so with that said, there's a lot of things being into consideration right now, a lot of discussions going on. I'm going down to meet with ODOT in a week or two. I've reached out to our state representative. I'm going to reach out to Mr. Joyce and talk to him about it. He sits on the Transportation Committee. I would suggest that everyone in this room reach out to Mr. Joyce and say, you need to be looking out for your constituents and not from a regional perspective. And if you talk to Joe Cattell, he will share this with you. Right now there's a consideration to increase our federal gas tax, and that's what the MPOs would like, because they can control this big pot of money now that they would receive. But in our best interest, from a state's best interest, from a citizen's best interest, in my opinion, it's better to consider local dollars, not federal dollars, because we have more control over that. We lose less leak away if you have local. And you get to identify what the source of the problem is, how much money is needed. They get this big pie of dollars at the federal level so they can distribute that all around and do wealth sharing and all that kind of nonsense, instead of solving the problem at hand. What is our shortfall? How many roads do we need to take care of? What's the cost of that? If we want buggy trails, what's the cost of that? And then we can face that particular financial situation. Even at a state level, it's more easily controlled. and it's not controlled by the federal government. If you raise this up to the federal government, now you've got big issues, because you can't control that. The bureaucratic organization we've got in NOACA is completely, we have zero influence in there. We can shout, we can pound on the table, we can do whatever we want to do. They are going to do what they think is in their best interest, and when I say they, I'm talking about Cleveland, Cuyahoga County, you know, the large metropolitan areas. They just look at us as a funding source for their,
Yeah,
for their
what I
stuff.
don't understand is how, I mean, we elect the county, they elect they're a regional organization. They don't have 3 commissioners. They have a county executives, and he's appointed to this board. So, I mean, I don't understand why Geauga is even in it anymore, so, but.
Michael, since I've been here, including last year when Mary Samiti was here, we instructed Mr. Claypool, if you can figure out a way to get us out of there and keep our highway dollars, our bridge money, road and bridge money, which is a number that's fluid. It's between, I'm gonna say round figures, between 2, 2.5, maybe it touches 3 million, but very rarely. And he was instructed, you find us a way to get our road money, and we'll leave. I'm not married to the organization. Most 90% of what they do, I oppose. Probably 95% of what they do. But I am opposed to coming to you on election day and asking you for additional tax dollars to make up the difference for the $2 million or to that fluid number that we're going to lose for roads and bridges. Since we're already paying it through gas tax and other, we're not going to get a refund.
I mean, what's the purpose of us having a congressman that's not going to lobby to get our tax money back?
We can't solve that from the commissioners' chambers. I'm sorry.
Well, I think pressure can be put on the congressman to make him go after those things. I think there's got to be a way to do that.
Yeah, you write letters and all your supporters.
I do write letters all the time.
I'm saying that's the pressure. 3 of us writing letters to David Joyce or whomever is it's a component. It's a fraction, a part of the total issue. But there's more power in the numbers, the volume of people that write these letters, than who writes the letter. I mean, we've sent. I don't know if I don't believe we sent a resolution to David Joyce. I know we've sent resolutions. Ralph was here. I'm not sure. I know we sent a resolution to NOACA about their participation in NEOSAC and Agenda 21 and all that crap that was included in that resolution. I'm not sure if we did one to David Joyce. I'd be that's fine with me. Write one up and we'll send it down there to him.
Well, and with all due respect, Blake, if you're and we appear to be agreement on NOACA, and by the way, we are working. I'm still working. This NOACA thing is just a sticky federal animal. I mean, there is no simple solution to this for a whole variety of reasons, and I'd love to share with you some of what I've learned, but I don't know if I want to make that public yet. But with that said, and again, with all due respect, Blake, I mean, you have a right to do what you do, and I'm a bit challenged because we would be better served, the people of this county would be better served with Joe Cattell as your alternate rather than Ms. Samiti, who clearly, and I can show you all kinds of evidence, is undermining the best interest of Geauga County through some of this stuff.
Why are you attacking me over that? When
I'm
the
not
man,
attacking you, I'm just
when the
coming.
man between us had every opportunity to name Joe Cattell, because he picked last, and chose an out-of-county resident. Now, I believe I have ideas in my mind, which I won't share, why that took place. But clearly, if it was that important, the last guy picking could have corrected that.
Yeah, but you missed the point.
No, I didn't miss the point.
The Blake is we have a person who was voted out of office twice.
And a person that was never voted into office, so, and doesn't live in the community. So right now we need to stop the argument or it's going to deteriorate even more.
Thank you for your time, Commissioners.
You're welcome.
Thank you
Go
for
ahead,
your
do you have a comment?
participation.
Bob Lasko and Esther I speak for Esther and I don't know anybody else in here want to raise their hand. We'd like to see us out of Nowaka, period. And I would, thank you. You could see the reaction here. This is, could you please get microphones for the table and for your guests? We cannot understand or hear anything that is said by your guests, ever. And when you are speaking up there, we miss a lot because we don't hear what you are saying.
Sure.
You need microphones. Please get some.
We have talked about
Thank
that in
you.
the past. I don't know what the
Yeah.
holdup is.
I think it's a good idea. Bob, before you leave today, why don't you meet me back in my office? I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Nowaka and leaving Nowaka. And so I could share some things with you that that'll help your understanding where we are on that kind of stuff. Any other comments, questions? No? With that said, let me read the acknowledgement, or the meetings and stuff coming up. Or acknowledgements first. Or do you want to do that? Why don't you go ahead and read the acknowledgements? You read better than me.
The 2014 annual inventory of all materials, machinery, tools, and other county supplies pursuant to ORC 305.18 the following: Department on Aging, Board of Elections, Building, Aspect, Community Development, County Home, Department of Emergency Services, County Engineer, Maintenance, Mental Health, Planning, Juvenile Probate Court, Prosecutor, Recorder, Soil and Water, Transit, and Water Resources. A monthly report filed by the County Sheriff's Office to account of expenses for the inmate meals for the month ending December 2014. The monthly inventory report, consolidated investment portfolio and obligations and securities monthly reports filed by the Treasurer's Office for Geauga County for the month of December 2014 pursuant to ORC 135.35L. So do meetings as well.
Okay. On the 29th, the meeting is going to hold a regular session as this Thursday at 6:30. On Friday, there's a Nowaka subcommittee meeting for air quality, transportation, and water quality. The 3rd of February, the Commission is going to hold a regular session at 9 o'clock. NEO Consortium, COG, there's going to be that meeting's on February 4th at 1:30 in Building 8. By the way, we are looking to update our website to include all this stuff on our website so it'll be easier for you to keep track of this stuff. On February 8th through the 10th, the Commissioners, we're going to be in training in Columbus, how to be Commissioners. The 9th, isn't that good? It's about time. There's going to be a Board of Revision meeting at 9 o'clock in the Auditors meeting. The 10th, the Commissioners are going to hold a regular session.
That you just canceled.
That we just canceled. The 10th, the Commissioners are also going to, there's also a Planning Commission meeting in building number, or across the street here, 470. The Nowaka meeting, Planning and Programming, the 12th. External Affairs meeting on the 13th, that's Nowaka. Leadership, Geauga County Government Day, the Geauga Government Day, luncheon at Mary's Party Center. A lot of meetings coming up.
St. Mary's Party Center.
Oh, sorry, thank you. The county offices will be closed for general business due to President's Day on the 16th. Commissioners are going to hold a regular session on the 17th. Nowaka Transit Council, Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory, I know you guys are going to be excited about that one, on the 20th. Family First Council on the 23rd at the many mental health offices. And the 24th, the Commissioners are going to hold regular session. The 26th, the Commissioners hold regular session. And on the 27th, Nowaka has a finance audit, governance, and executive meeting. So with that said,
I move to adjourn.